Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz, with your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to How We Grow, the vacation rental show. I'm really excited today to bring to you an industry expert who has been in vacation rentals for over 20 years. Terry Whyte, thank you so much for coming. I'm really happy to have you here.
I can't tell you how excited I am. You're a rock star in the industry, and if you just read some of your last couple of podcasts, the respect people have for you, it's incredible.
Oh, you guys are so nice. I love our industry. It's the best, but I need to tell people a little bit about you. So Terry is known in the industry for being the vacation rental software guy. He is our techie. He's the owner of Anna Maria Beach Rentals, Anna Maria Island Beach Rentals down in Florida. It's stunning there. It's so beautiful. It was named like the number three prettiest city in the country by Forbes. And it's been in the top 30 by Condé Nast, I think. And besides doing that, he also leads research groups that look at software in our industry. If you want to know something about software, you should talk to Terry. And he was also named as one of the top 20 most influential people in the vacation rental technology by VR Tech. And thank you for coming. What do you want to talk about? I'm so excited to talk to you.
I want to talk about your acquisition of Lightmaker. I can't tell you how excited I am to see that happen.
Yay. Well, thank you. We're excited too to welcome them on board. Tell me why you're excited, Terry.
No PM. I'm always about innovation. I've been down on PMS. I'm PMS's best friend, but I know I've been down on them for lack of innovation, and the plug and play thing here. But no PMS has innovated like Lightmaker has. They have with their website, with their WordPress website builder, friendly, easy to use itself. Then you have they own the absolute best tape chart in the industry, and any property manager, we all live inside our tape chart. They own the best tape chart in the industry.
Absolutely.
And then you look at their not just quoting from the tape chart now, but complex quoting from. If you've never
tell me what that means.
Okay, so you can have a party. Let's say there's four different families. You can from one quote, you can 4 different properties. This one has jet skis. This one doesn't. This one allows smoking. This one allows pets. And roll it all into one folder, and then everybody goes out and gets the same quote. It's incredible innovation. And nobody has innovated like Lightmaker has. And my personal opinion on this is, Streamline at one time was the by far best in the industry PMS. Nobody could touch them. I was really disappointed when they sunset B12, and I've been told by very good sources, and I know it's right, that Track picked up 95% of them or more, and not to see Streamline pick up at least 50% of that. It saddened me. I think they have some aging technology. I think Lightmaker has the best and probably the newest technology in the business, and I see nothing but upside for Streamline on this acquisition.
I'm really excited to see what happens myself. We were really
it changes everything.
It does. It's a game changer for sure for the whole company, and we are thrilled to do that. Let me ask you something. So, in Anna Maria Island, tell me about the competition there. How competitive are you, and how does technology help you with that?
Okay, so my view on technology is I can never be as good as I can be without leveraging technology to the best of my ability. This island is very small. It's only a 7-mile long island, half a mile at its widest point. There's probably over 7,000 rental properties here. So people talk about Disney being the most competitive market in the world. I'm probably competing similar, to Disney here. There must be over 30 rental companies here on the island. Things have changed though quite a bit. Is the old legacy companies that haven't embraced technology, the one thing I can say about them is I hope they never go out of business or go bankrupt, because they just make me look good by default, But the newer companies that are coming in here, they have beautiful properties. they understand sales, they understand technology, they understand social media. So it's really, it gets more difficult for me every day because my competition is they're real good now. Where before, when a number of years ago, that wasn't the way. I had so much leverage on the industry just by using technology, by being in the business so long, had a lot of experience being willing to change when things changed. So I was out ahead of it all, but they're really catching up now for sure.
So let me ask you this. Say you are a property management company and you're just starting out. Tell me what you would say to someone who is like less than a year old. They're just starting to grow their business. What do they need to think about technology wise, Terry, to grow and to scale? What's the most important thing there?
Well, it's so complicated, and it frightens people, and even people that come to me and they're going to switch softwares. They're going to switch to they're going to leave a PMS, go to another PMS. They've been in business for 20 years. They've used good technology before, but they're just afraid of making a mistake, like another mistake, Yeah. And so to go to somebody who's just starting out, the first thing I would say is you absolutely have to get the best PMS you can afford. And hopefully, you're never going to leave. You're going to kind of stay with them. The best one you can afford. And another one is, people just never, ever realize this. The second most important part of your tech stack is your website. We talk a lot about, OTA dependence and stuff like that. And people say, oh, I'm going to do this. They really have no hope. If their website isn't the most important, second most important, they have no hope. They're going to be an OTA.
That's right. Slave
For the rest of their life.
It's a slave. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree. 100%.
Yeah. So, but the reason it's so complex is because it is so complex and there's so much out there. But I always tell people that if they can narrow it down into the 10 most critical components of a tech stack, they can make this pretty easy, and even if you get the 10 right and you make a few mistakes, they're pretty easy to recover from. Everybody makes mistakes, but there's two kinds of mistakes. There's the mistakes everybody makes, and there's mistakes you can't make. A mistake that you can't make would be your home automation. It's so expensive. It's so complex. The easiest mistake in the industry to recover from is a pricing tool. Whether you're using this one, or this one, you can go into your PMS and you can just shut it off. You can shut it off and then click this one and enable this one. There's no mistake easier in our industry to recover from than a pricing tool. Not a revenue management tool, a pricing tool.
Okay. So I hear what you're saying there, and I want to quote. There was a quote that I saw that you made, and I just kind of want to read it because I found it so insightful. The difference between owners with less than 5 properties and PMs with hundreds of properties is that
technology scares them.
There you go.
PMs with 100 properties, or let's say 50 or more, they embrace technology. The less it frightens them, it intimidates them, and it frightens them. That's the difference between the two.
And that's fascinating, guys. I mean, when you think about this, there are a lot of companies that remain small because they are luxury. And so they need the technology for scalability simply because there are so many demands on them from their owners that aren't normally there. Like, say you've got a company on the Outer Banks that has 50 properties. The owners there are not clamoring for technology. They're fearing it, like you say in your quote. But for those that are very technology forward and they have even fewer owners sometimes, there is a way to approach an owner to make them embrace technology. What do you think that way is the most?
When I'm onboarding new, I don't advertise. It's just word of mouth here, and we
love that.
Yeah, when you get an owner and you get it in either a virtual meeting or a physical meeting, pull out your tech stack, show them what you do, how you do it, how this can help them, show the numbers that similar properties that you're generating income for Circle. But the one, of all the technology we have, the one thing that impresses owners the most is their communication guide, whether it's a guide, whether it's a communication tool or guide. You've got DAC, you've got Enzo now, or you've got TouchStay, Hostfully, stuff like that. But when you show them that particular piece of your tech stack, they've never seen anything like it, and they are just super, and they can see the kind of experience that you're renting their home, you're accepting their guest, they're really their guest as well as my guest, is they're so impressed when they see that the way that you communicate with the guests and the way the amenities that you have, the way they're laid out. And there's should be in that there should never be a question. They should never have to pick up the phone and call the property manager and say, do I have this? Are there beach towels included? Are there bicycles included? Are there, it's everything is in that, passwords, internet names, everything.
How We Grow has partnered with LMPM, a next-generation property management software designed to enhance operations and improve guest experience. Discover a modern take on everything you need to manage your properties. Take bookings, automate trust accounting, and ensure your guests enjoy their stay. Learn more about their lightning-fast property management software at lmpm.com. I love that. If you could go back 20 years to yourself and give yourself advice and say, this is a mistake, Terry, you don't want to make that mistake. And you could tell it to yourself, or you could say, Terry, you need to do this sooner rather than later. What would those things be?
Okay. So I predate VRBO. So I think probably you, Heather Bear, and myself are almost the first people in the industry. The only way there is only one way to learn. You learn by your mistakes.
This is so true. Thank God we do.
You just learn by your mistakes. There was no one, Heather Bear, I read her newsletter, and who, that was technology back then. Somebody's writing a newsletter.
Sure.
But I would say now is embrace technology at your first opportunity. I don't like it when I hear these people say, I'm more hands-on. And you can be everybody has to be hands-on. You have to make it the most personal, but you can't be the best you can be if you don't have the best technology stack.
How do you know it's time to change your property management software, Terry?
You instinctively know you outgrow it, and there's
so painful. No matter if it's the best software in the world, it's still painful.
Yeah, but sometimes, there's
embrace the suck.
It's not a bad mistake to make, because when I first started, once going down the technology road, if I would have went to, and I had at that time, I might have had 15 properties at that time. I'm getting close to 50 now, but I started with a very small PMS. It cost me like $20 a month. So I used it for a year, and then that's the thing that changed industry to me, that changed the industry forever. And the best thing that happened to the industry technology-wise was VRBO when they introduced Best Match. So, I was one of the guys using one property to feed 15 others, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But when they changed it, I knew I had to change. My old business model wouldn't work. But because I started with just an entry-level PMS, I instinctively knew immediately where to start looking for a PMS. So then I started for one that I could grow with and do stuff like that. But if I had my very first PMF, if it would have been Streamlined or Track or something, I'd probably got frustrated and quit, and found something else, So sometimes, it's not a bad mistake to make when you're starting out. If you have 50 or 100 properties, you really don't want to make that mistake. But if you're 15, right, 20 properties, there is absolutely nothing wrong with switching your PMS. And it's easy to do. Yeah. So
exactly. I find that this is my experience, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I would love your opinion on this. The most expensive part of the software change for a PMS for a middle-sized company is not the software itself. It's the training of the employees, the retraining of everyone, and learning how to do it differently. I find that is the most expensive part, the people part.
Yeah. I've never experienced that because I'm the only employee. So, I'm the only one that had to learn, but I hear exactly what you're saying. Yes. And I run into this, all the time, because it's so complex too. And everybody learns at a different level too,
sure.
So I totally agree with you.
Especially if you choose a PMS that doesn't allow for you to do business the way that you do business. There are PMSs that don't configure well, and you have to do business the way they do. And when you change your business model to base it on there, I don't understand why people do that. I would think I would find a PMS that kind of fit the way that I did things.
The good news about that is if you're a property manager with 100 properties or so, you can really narrow it down now to what the best PMSs are. Like it's pretty obvious right now who has where the 5 best PMSs are. And so that's the good news. Where before,
I do agree.
yeah, when everybody was you could look here, there, and the list went on forever. It's pretty, right now, and I'm not going to name them, but
No,
we
of
know.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you suggest that people that are looking for technology go to VRMA? Would you suggest they go to where? Where do they want to go to see all this? Because they have a lot of choice now. There are regional things. Where would you suggest they go to learn?
VRMA for sure is by far the best conference for sure. I've never been to Streamline. I know I'm not a Streamline user. I have nothing but respect for them. It's on my bucket list to go to a Streamline conference for sure.
I will put a good word in for you. How about that?
Yeah,
I know that there are things that would really impress you. There's a lot of things going on there that impress the hell out of me. So I know it's going to impress other people because I've been in technology for a while. Let me ask
you have these companies now too, not just Streamline. There's other that have their own conference just on technology,
Absolutely.
And some of them are even opening up to other vendors, to come in, you don't have to be, the competition or stuff like that. So when you can go to a conference and not have to listen to marketing, or any of that, you can only go and concentrate on nothing but technology. That's like heaven.
That's gold. It is. It is gold. I agree 100%. I love it's my favorite conference in the market. There are a lot of them out there, and I go to a lot of conferences. I go to most of them. But that is my favorite. I always ask our guest, Terry, to give me an owner story and a guest story. Will you give us an owner and a guest story, please?
Owner story would be right now. This has really helped me a lot. Is I have an owner that has been losing quite a bit of money in the stock market, and he's decided to get out and buy real estate here on in. I already had one of his properties, so he's buying a bunch of real estate. So, but every time he buys a property, he gives it to me, because the numbers are good. But what happened was his real estate agent said to him, "What's the deal here? Why are you buying all these properties? Well, I'm making all this money." And so the real estate, so I gave him my name. So every time he gets a new listing, he comes to me and says, "Okay, what's the rental projection? What are you going to do?" And so every time he gets a listing, I get the referral to it. And then he just last week he gave another agent my name, and that agent did over $100 million in sales last year.
Hold on to your seat.
Yeah. And that the second thing I would have to say that probably most proud of I am in the industry is in 30 years, I've had one owner leave me. I have the lowest churn rate in the industry.
Wow.
Sure.
I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
I understand that completely. That means that you are very focused on your portfolio owners and not just on the portfolio.
And, I know for a fact that if they thought that they could do some better with somebody else, so the only reason they've stayed with me is no one can touch my numbers. And, I have the data to prove it. And that's why no one's ever left me,
That's beautiful. So tell me about your guests that come. Do you have a favorite guest story?
Yeah, I would have to say this lady, I have some properties that have docks, and the docks, manatees and dolphins like to hang out at the docks.
They do. And I love that.
Yeah, she had a 4-year-old daughter, and her daughter she's obsessed with manatees. So, when you tell somebody, oh, you could probably sit on your deck and watch the manatees, and then as soon as you tell, or dolphins, as soon as you tell somebody that, it's never going to happen.
I know, right? Right.
So she walks into the condo, opens the blinds, looks out, and there's 2 dolphins sitting right there, and her 4-year-old daughter's looking at it. I've used that for marketing too, quite often. Too.
I love that. We have dolphins up and down our beach that you can set your watch by them almost. And I think it's I guess they go back and forth. I don't know, but I told my husband, I said, if you sit out here, you'll see dolphins. And he's like,
our grandkids were with us here in July. And so we decided we'll take a walk and go out on the dock there. And we weren't on that dock for 10 seconds and there was a dolphin. I felt like the best grandfather, there's my granddaughter looking at the dolphins.
I
She
have
could
a lot
almost,
of fun when I go down to that area looking at the manatees. I find them fascinating too.
yeah.
So tell me, in closing, tell me, if you had a single piece of advice to give people that are out there looking and listening and wanting to grow their property management company, what would you tell them, Terry?
Concentrate on quality properties first. Don't take anything, I did it until you take anything that you can get when you first start. Quality properties, the standards are so high now and the expectations are so high.
Sure.
And then embrace technology. And one thing I really caution people against is it's a really, really good idea. This isn't 100% of the time, but almost 100% of the time. Get your website off of your PMS platform and protect yourself. Get the best website you can afford, get the best PMS you can afford, and protect yourself against the churn. We're going to see churn in our industry like we've never seen before. And if you churn, you don't want to be starting over. You don't want to be leaving your website and your PMS at the same time. You want to take your website with you when you go. Own your website, own your PMS.
That's very, very good advice. And guys, just when you start out, you also need to own all your own domains. You need to do that.
Yeah.
Everything that belongs to that needs to belong to you.
Yes.
I know that I've seen some really ugly things. So make sure that that you pick a really good domain and it belongs to you. Terry, I'm really grateful for you coming to share, and I hope you'll come back. I appreciate your thoughts, and I'm interested in seeing where your thoughts go as this year progresses. There's so much going down in tech this year.
I want to come back and talk to you about how you've leveraged Lightmaker in another couple of months. Yeah.
How much fun is that going to be? Well, thank you again for coming. This episode of How We Grow was brought to you by the lightning fast property management software at LNPM. To find out more about how LNPM can help to grow your vacation rental business, visit lnpm.com. Be sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcast, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.